Hello, I'm Dr. Tina Ray and I'm an educational and child psychologist. Today I'm going to focus in my series on teens and tweens support on the topic of mindfulness. This whole series is intended to support children and young people in terms of maintaining their well-being and mental health. So they're very, very short sessions, and hopefully they'll just begin to give you some ideas and strategies, some key tools that you can use to find and keep your sense of calm. So when we start thinking about this whole area of being more mindful, I think we have to think very carefully about where our unhappiness and stress actually comes from when we're feeling really anxious and worried and concerned about things, when we're very worried. And most of it, I think, in my view, comes from thinking about and worrying about things in the past or worrying about things in the future. So I might be worried about not having completed my homework, or my boss being angry with me because I was late for work, or my teacher getting upset with me because I didn't concentrate. I may think about the future and worry that maybe if I go to that party or I go out to play with my friends somewhere, that people are going to ignore me. They're not going to want to be around me. I won't have anybody to talk with. So it's about worrying, worries about the past and the future. If we spend all of our time in this state of worry, the problem for us is that we really do miss out on what's actually going on around us. We miss out on all the stuff that's really good in our lives because we're just focused on those worries about the past and the future. We don't experience the moment that we're in, looking out of the window, being in the nice fresh air, in the lovely weather, etc. We don't actually notice it because our worries have overwhelmed us. If we try and focus on the present, the things that are going on right now for us, life very often seems to be much, much better, much more positive, and it's healthier for us. Mindfulness really does help us to focus on this present moment. The Association for Mindfulness in Education defines it, this whole process, as paying attention here and now with kindness and curiosity. And there is something about being kinder to ourselves if we allow ourselves not to worry quite so much. And that's what mindfulness enables us to do, not to worry or judge ourselves quite as much as we may usually do. In essence, this is a set of skills. It's something that we can get better and better at if we practice enough, if we reflect on it and think about how we're actually engaging in mindfulness in our daily lives. And for many of us, it just simply becomes and is a way of life. Right at the outset, what you might want to do is just take a stop moment. And I love this visual of the hand. It really does reflect this process of just stopping, take a breath, just observe your thoughts and feelings. Just observe them. Don't think about them. Observe them. They're there. Then pause and then proceed mindfully. It's a very useful visual just to introduce this whole process. It really is something that we do. We experience it. We practice being mindful. We practice our mindfulness skills. And there's an element here of formal practice. So you might do this as a whole class or a form group where you actually engage in some meditation. You all have a go at a body scan activity. There is some mindful movement that you take part in. You may on your own engage in all of these things and also kind of come up with your own timetable of mindfulness practice, which is formalized and structured into your day, each day of the week. But then there's also informal mindfulness, I call it informal practice, where you just stop for a minute during the day and you become aware of body sensations, your thoughts, emotions, what's actually being fed into you in terms of your sensory life on each event during the day, but also just practiced in really ordinary, simple activities like cleaning your teeth, washing, having a shower, just noticing the water on you, just noticing what that feels like as you eat your breakfast, for example. How do we start this? For me, being aware of body sensations is a really good way to start with mindfulness, because it works for all of us. It doesn't matter what age we are. We can be quite wee, quite little, we can be much older like me. But by focusing directly on the sensation, we are immediately brought into awareness of the present moment. We can feel ourselves being right here in the here and now. So sometimes it's just easy to do this. Just stop your reading, stop your listening or watching. Just take a pause and try the following exercise. Place your hands in front of your eyes, palms towards you, and hold them there for a few moments, and just notice any tingling sensations in your fingers and your palms. A very simple exercise to make us become more aware. And this is what I call the cloud or leaf strategy. You might want to have a go at this. You just sit still and you relax and you close your eyes. Now, some of you may not want to do this in a group. Some of us don't like closing our eyes in a group context. That's fine. Okay, so try, if you're one of those people like I am, then do this on your own at home, quietly and gently, with yourself only being present. So you close your eyes and you just simply begin to focus on your breathing. And you direct your attention to the sensation of each breath, in, out, in, out, in and out. And you become aware of the feeling of the air as it enters and then leaves your mouth or your nostrils. And you know when you're doing this, thoughts are going to enter into your mind. You can become aware of them. Just notice them without judging and just let them pass, let them float past. Imagine pinning these thoughts into a drifting cloud or a leaf that is floating down the river. Let those thoughts go. And just again, focus your attention on your breathing, in and out, in and out. When you've had a chance to do this, just stop and reflect, think about it for a wee bit. How was it? How did it feel? Do you now feel slightly more calm? What was useful about it? What was difficult? Did you have lots of intrusive thoughts? It may be that this is something that you want to practice more on a more regular basis, because I think for many of us, this can be extremely helpful just to ground ourselves. Those breathing exercises in mindfulness are really, really important. I sometimes teach younger children to use ball breathing, where you hold a ball in your right hand and you inhale as you squeeze it, and then you exhale as you release your hold on that ball. Or again, for younger children, that straw breathing, placing a straw in your mouth, inhaling through your nose and exhaling through the straw. Or visualizing a birthday cake. Think about the image of a birthday cake. You breathe in before you then blow out all the candles. Okay, so you're blowing out, breathing out when you blow the candles out. So just 3 ways of engaging in breathing exercises. And there are noticing exercises. And these are exercises, again, to center yourself, to ground yourself, to connect with your environment, what's around you. Okay, you can practice this throughout the day, especially when you think that you're getting some kind of overwhelm. Your brain's working a bit too fast, you're mulling on your thoughts a wee bit too much. Okay, so you can use photo mindfulness. So just noticing what's out there through the window, the scenery, the nature around you. Food mindfulness, so eating something and being very aware of the sensations of that in your mouth, taking time to do that and recognizing all those sensations, or just stopping to pause and listen to the sounds that you can hear in the room. And then, of course, there's grounding, which I've talked about before. I use this a great deal, just soles of the feet practice. So really enabling you to divert your attention away from a thought that is really arousing you, that's making you feel slightly anxious. You push your feet into the ground, okay? And you're very aware of doing that. You can do it just sitting down at your desk. You can do it sitting down on your sofa while you're watching telly, whatever you're doing, but you're pushing your feet into the ground. Okay, so that what you're doing is you're diverting that attention. It's coming away from those worrying thoughts into this part of your body that's quite neutral, your feet. So have a go. I think ultimately, if I'm introducing this to people, what I get them to try and do is just practice this every day for a week, and then we review it. We talk about it and reflect on how well this has or hasn't gone, and what worked and what didn't work. And I think maybe just 5 minutes a day for the rest of this week, you could probably try and develop a practice that works for you. So maybe using one or two of these tools, the breathing, the grounding that I've spoken about today, or the leaf exercise. Then also throughout the day, just try and stop and pause 3 or 4 times a day and just pay attention to what you're feeling and experiencing when you take your shower, when you eat your breakfast, when your phone rings or you receive a text or a WhatsApp message. Just try taking a few more breaks in your study time so that you can just ground yourself. So it's about what works for you. This isn't for everybody. It doesn't work for everybody. But I think this set of skills, these tools can be very, very useful in supporting us to regulate ourselves and manage our levels of anxiety effectively. If you want more advice and more support with this, then all of these publications that I'm presenting on this slide provide that, particularly the Recovery Toolbox of Wellbeing. There's quite a lot of information and lots of strategies around mindfulness in that publication. I think ultimately it's about thinking now what works for you. What do you do now? Do you use mindfulness already? That's great if you do. If you don't, maybe this is your chance to try out some of these key tools and strategies and reflect on it and think about it. What could you do more of? What might work better for you? So thanks once again for listening, and I hope that this has been useful and that you'll join me in the next session.